Hello everyone, my name is Adam, and as always, I'm thrilled to guide you through another exciting episode of our podcast. Today, we have something really special to talk about. If you've ever wondered how mastering the English language could impact your career, you're in for a treat. Whether you're looking to advance in your current job, find new opportunities, or even explore a completely new career path, this episode is for you,
That's right, Adam. I'm Julia, and I'm just as excited as you are to discuss today's topic, how English opened doors for my career. In today's world, English is not just a language, it's the key to connecting with people, organizations, and businesses all around the globe. It's the common language that helps you break barriers and communicate with others from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds. English is the language of international business, travel, technology, and even education. So it's no wonder that learning English can truly change your life and career.
Absolutely. When we think about career success, learning English is like opening a door to a world full of endless possibilities. English isn't just useful for talking to people. It's crucial for accessing important job markets, for collaborating with colleagues from other countries, and for gaining a competitive edge in the professional world. Think about it. If you're applying for a job at a global company or aiming for a promotion within your current organization, English could be the factor that makes you stand out among other candidates.
That's right, Adam. The power of English goes beyond just the job search. It's also about how it connects you to networks and communities that might have been impossible to reach before. In many industries like technology, science, healthcare, and marketing, English has become the main language used for professional communication. So, when you know English, you're not just limiting yourself to local opportunities, you're opening doors to international experiences and global networks. You're gaining the ability to communicate and collaborate with professionals all over the world.
Exactly, Julia. And I think one of the most powerful things about learning English is the confidence it gives you. When you can communicate in English, you can express your ideas clearly, whether you're in a meeting, giving a presentation, or even just networking at an event. The confidence that comes from knowing you can understand and participate in conversations in English opens up so many professional doors. And it doesn't just help in your career, it impacts your personal life as well, especially if you travel or work internationally.
Exactly. I'm sure many of our listeners have heard stories of people who learned English and saw their careers change in dramatic ways. English can help you not only get a job, but also move up in your field. It can help you connect with mentors, attend important conferences, and even collaborate on exciting projects that could shape the future of your career. The possibilities really are endless when you have the skills to communicate in English.
That's a great point, Julia. And today, we'll hear about some real-life examples of people whose careers were changed because they decided to learn English. We'll also share some tips and strategies to help you improve your English skills, no matter where you are in your language learning journey. Whether you're just starting out or you've been learning English for years, there's always room to grow, and we're here to help guide you through it.
Absolutely. So, stay with us as we dive deeper into the ways that learning English can transform your career. We'll explore personal stories, discuss the incredible opportunities English opens up, and give you practical tips to start or continue your own English learning journey. By the end of this podcast, we hope you'll be inspired to see English not just as a language, but as a tool that can change your life in ways you may never have imagined.
It's going to be a fantastic episode. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. In this section, we're diving deep into one of the most exciting and crucial aspects of learning English, its role as a global language. As we discussed in the introduction, English has become the universal language that connects people across countries, cultures, and continents. It's no longer just the language spoken by people in English-speaking countries like the United States or the United Kingdom. English is now the dominant language in business, technology, education, and even travel. This wide use of English has created countless opportunities for people who speak it, especially in the professional world.
Exactly, Adam. English is often referred to as a global language, And this is no exaggeration. It's spoken by over 2 billion people around the world, whether as a first language, a second language, or even as a third language. In fact, English has become the main language of international communication. Just think about it. Whenever people from different countries come together, whether for business meetings, academic conferences, or international events, they often use English to communicate. English has truly become the bridge that connects people, regardless of their native languages.
That's such an important point, Julia. In the world of business, for example, English has established itself as the language of choice. Whether you're working for a multinational company, negotiating deals with international clients, or even collaborating with colleagues from different countries, English is the common thread that holds everything together. Imagine trying to attend a meeting or give a presentation in a global company without knowing English. It would be extremely difficult to communicate your ideas clearly, right?
Absolutely, Adam. English is essential in business because it allows people from all over the world to interact and collaborate effectively. For instance, when a company has offices in multiple countries, English becomes the primary language used in emails, reports, and even internal meetings. Let's take an example. Picture yourself working for a technology company that has teams in the US, India, Germany, and Japan. If these teams didn't speak English, they'd struggle to coordinate and share ideas. But because everyone understands English, they can work together smoothly, even if they speak different native languages. English allows them to break down language barriers and focus on what truly matters: getting the job done.
That's a great example, Julia. And it's not just business companies that rely on English. The technology sector is another area where English is absolutely essential. The world's biggest technology companies, such as Google, Apple, and Microsoft, all operate in English. The programming languages used to create software and applications are also based on English. Even if you don't speak English fluently, understanding basic English is crucial if you're working in tech.
Exactly. And let's not forget that many of the world's most influential books, research papers, and online resources are published in English. If you're working in technology, medicine, or any field that requires you to stay updated with the latest research, you'll find that much of that information is written in English. Even many tech tutorials, online courses, and webinars are conducted in English, which means knowing the language can help you access a wealth of knowledge and skills that can advance your career.
That's a really good point, Julia. It's amazing how deeply English is integrated into the fabric of the modern world. But it's not just business and technology that rely on English. One area where English plays a huge role is travel.
Yes, travel is a perfect example. English is the most commonly spoken language in airports, hotels, and tourist destinations around the world. Even if you're traveling to a country where English isn't the native language, you'll find that most people in the tourism industry can speak at least some basic English. Airlines, hotels, and tour guides often use English to communicate with tourists because it's the most widely understood language globally.
That's right. And if you think about it, English makes travel a lot easier, especially for business travelers. If you need to travel for a meeting, conference, or training, knowing English can help you navigate everything from booking your flight to understanding instructions at the airport. Imagine you're in a foreign country trying to catch a flight to another city for a business meeting. If you don't know English, it could be very challenging to ask for directions, get help, or even make sure you're at the right gate.
Exactly. English gives you the ability to connect with people in different countries, even if they speak different languages. It's a skill that helps you go anywhere and do anything. And it's not just business people or tourists who benefit from knowing English. It's also people who work in international organizations, such as the United Nations or the World Health Organization. These organizations use English as their main language for communication, whether it's for creating policies, sharing research, or discussing global issues.
And that's a great example, Julia. Even in global organizations like the United Nations, where many different languages are spoken, English is the primary language used for official documents, meetings, and communications. So, people who work in these international organizations often have to be proficient in English, or at least understand it, to be able to participate fully in their work.
Exactly. And when it comes to industries like education, English plays a big role too. Many prestigious universities, especially in countries like the US and the UK, require students to be proficient in English in order to attend. English is the language of instruction at these universities, and many academic journals and research papers are published in English. So, if you want to pursue higher education at an international level, you'll need English to access all those opportunities.
That's so true. And let's not forget the creative industries. Things like film, music, and literature. English is the dominant language in Hollywood films, international music hits, and popular TV shows. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, or writer, knowing English opens up so many doors for collaboration and exposure to global audiences. If you dream of working in those industries, mastering English is a must.
Absolutely, Adam. So, as we can see, English really is everywhere. It's not just a language, it's the key to unlocking so many opportunities in business, technology, travel, education, and even the creative industries. Knowing English doesn't just help you communicate, it helps you thrive in the global world we live in.
Exactly, Julia. As we continue in this podcast, we'll share even more stories and examples of how people have used English to achieve success in their careers. But hopefully, by now, you can see just how powerful a tool English is in opening doors to opportunities around the world.
Absolutely, Adam. And with that, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about some real-life examples of how learning English has helped people transform their careers.
I'd love to start by sharing a powerful story about someone I know who saw their career completely transformed after learning English. This person's name is Carlos, and he's originally from a small village in Brazil. Carlos had always been passionate about technology, and he dreamed of working with global companies, but there was one big challenge. He didn't speak English well. In Brazil, many people speak Portuguese, but English was not widely spoken in his community, so Carlos didn't have many opportunities to practice or learn the language. But despite the challenges, Carlos was determined to pursue his dream. He realized that in order to get a good job in the tech industry, especially in multinational companies, learning English was absolutely essential. So, he decided to take a bold step and invested in learning English. It wasn't easy for him at first. He enrolled in an English course, and every day, after work, he dedicated hours to improving his speaking and writing skills. At times, it was frustrating, and there were moments when Carlos doubted himself, but he stayed focused on his goal. Over time, Carlos's English skills began to improve. He started participating in online tech forums, reading technical articles in English, and even watching English language tutorials on programming and software development. Soon, he became more confident in his abilities. One day, he saw a job opening at a major tech company that had offices in several countries. The job description required English proficiency, which initially discouraged Carlos. But instead of backing down, he decided to apply anyway, believing that his growing English skills would give him a chance. Carlos spent several weeks preparing for the interview. He practiced speaking in English every day, even recording himself to make sure his pronunciation was clear. On the day of the interview, he was nervous, but also excited. He was finally going to apply for a position in a global company that would open so many doors for his career. During the interview, he was able to communicate clearly in English, explain his skills and experience, and even discuss some of the company's recent tech innovations, which he had read about in English. The hiring manager was impressed with his technical knowledge and his ability to speak confidently in English. A few days later, Carlos received an offer from the company. His decision to invest in learning English had paid off. Not only did he get the job, but he was also offered a higher salary than he had imagined. Carlos was now working with some of the best minds in the tech industry, collaborating with colleagues from the United States, India, and the United Kingdom. His career flourished, and he was soon promoted to a leadership role. Today, Carlos is a senior software developer and leads several international projects for his company. He credits his success to the time and effort he put into improving his English, which allowed him to break into the global tech market.
That's such an inspiring story, Adam. I love how Carlos didn't let the language barrier stop him from pursuing his dreams, and in the end, it truly changed his life. Now, I'd like to share a story from a different industry. This one is about a woman named Amina, who's from Egypt. Amina worked as a nurse in Cairo for many years. She loved her job and was deeply committed to helping her patients. However, she felt that she had reached a limit in her career. In Egypt, the healthcare system was constantly evolving, and Amina wanted to learn about the latest medical practices and innovations. But there was one major obstacle. Much of the new research, medical literature, and training programs were in English. Amina realized that in order to stay on top of her field, she needed to improve her English skills. She had always been hesitant about learning a new language, thinking it might be too difficult for her. But the desire to continue growing in her career gave her the motivation she needed. So Amina enrolled in an English course for medical professionals. She also started reading medical articles and journals in English. Slowly but surely, she began to understand more and more of the complex terminology used in her field. Her confidence grew as she continued to improve. Amina started attending international medical conferences, where English was the primary language used for presentations and discussions. At first, she felt nervous speaking in English, but over time, she gained more confidence and even began contributing to discussions. At one of these conferences, Amina met a renowned doctor from the United States who specialized in cardiology. They exchanged ideas and discussed the latest breakthroughs in heart disease treatment, and the doctor was impressed by Amina's knowledge and her ability to communicate in English. A few months later, Amina was invited to work in a prestigious hospital in the United States, where she would have access to world-class medical research and the opportunity to collaborate with some of the best doctors in her field. Her English skills opened doors to a career she had once thought was out of reach. Amina's story is a perfect example of how learning English can directly impact career advancement, even in the highly specialized field of healthcare. She is now not only a well-respected nurse in the US, but she also frequently conducts research and presents at medical conferences around the world.
What an amazing story, Julia. Amina's journey is such a great reminder that English can open up opportunities in fields we might not even think about, like healthcare, where specialized knowledge is essential. It's fascinating how she not only gained access to more resources, but also found herself interacting with international professionals and contributing to the global medical community.
Exactly. And this brings us to an important point about how learning English doesn't just help you access more information or connect with international colleagues. It boosts your confidence in so many ways. Both Carlos and Amina were able to communicate their ideas clearly and effectively because they had confidence in their language skills. This confidence is so important when it comes to advancing in your career. It allows you to speak up in meetings, participate in discussions, and present your ideas without fear of making mistakes.
That's so true, Julia. And the confidence that comes from knowing English can really be life-changing. When you feel confident in your language skills, you're more likely to take risks, apply for jobs you might have thought were beyond you, and ask for that promotion you deserve. English is more than just a language. It's a tool that can help you become more assertive in your professional life.
Right. And it's not just about the technical skills you learn, it's about the confidence you build to approach new opportunities, network with professionals around the world, and collaborate across cultures. Language skills give you the courage to step out of your comfort zone and explore new possibilities. And this, as we've seen with Carlos and Amina, can lead to incredible personal and professional growth.
Absolutely, Julia. So, as you can see, learning English can be a real game changer. Whether you're in technology, healthcare, or any other field, English opens doors, builds confidence, and gives you access to opportunities you might have never imagined. It's clear that the more you invest in your language skills, the more your career will thrive.
Definitely. And with that, we'll take a moment to reflect on the importance of language skills in building a successful career. We'll be right back after a short break to explore some of the ways you can improve your own English skills and continue on the path to success.
Now that we've heard some amazing personal stories about how learning English has opened doors for people in different industries, let's take a deep dive into the career benefits that come with mastering the English language. English is not just a tool for communication. It's a bridge that connects people across borders and industries. In today's globalized world, learning English can dramatically enhance your career prospects. So, let's explore some of the specific skills that English can help you develop and how these skills can have a lasting impact on your career. One of the first areas where English proves to be incredibly useful is in writing professional emails. Think about how much time we spend communicating through emails at work. Whether it's reaching out to a client, responding to a colleague, or collaborating on a project, email communication is essential in almost every job. When you write emails in English, you must be clear, concise, and professional. Even if you know how to speak English, writing can be tricky because the tone and style have to be just right. For example, if you are working in a customer service role, you might need to respond to complaints or requests. If your English is strong, you can respond promptly, professionally, and with confidence. Your communication will be well received, and this will make a positive impression on your clients and colleagues. In contrast, if your English is not strong, you might hesitate, make mistakes, or fail to convey your message effectively. This could lead to misunderstandings or frustrations, potentially affecting your reputation at work. I remember a colleague of mine, Sarah, who worked as a marketing manager at a global company. Before improving her English skills, she often felt nervous about drafting emails to clients in English. She would worry that her message wouldn't be clear, and she'd spend hours checking her sentences. But after practicing writing emails in English and receiving feedback from her team, she became more confident. As a result, Sarah started handling key client accounts. Her ability to communicate well in writing helped her get noticed by upper management. Eventually, she was promoted to a senior marketing role, where her email communication played a crucial role in maintaining client relationships and handling high-profile projects. Now, another crucial aspect of communication in the workplace is attending meetings. Whether it's a video call with a global team or an in-person meeting with colleagues from different countries, the ability to understand and contribute during meetings is key to your professional success. In many international companies, English is the primary language used for meetings. This means that if you're not confident in your English, you might miss out on important information or fail to express your ideas clearly. Let me give you an example. I had a friend, John, who worked as a project manager for a company with teams spread across several countries, including the United States, Germany, and Japan. John was really good at his job and knew the project inside and out. But whenever there were virtual meetings in English, he often struggled to express his thoughts. He would get nervous, especially when there were team members from different cultures with strong English skills. John felt frustrated because he didn't want to seem unprepared or misunderstood, but instead of giving up, he decided to focus on improving his English for meetings. John started practicing listening to podcasts and watching videos related to project management in English. He also made it a habit to prepare for meetings by writing down key points in English, so he could follow the conversation and participate more confidently. Over time, his listening comprehension and speaking skills improved. He was no longer afraid to speak up during meetings, and as a result, his ideas were noticed and valued. This improvement in communication eventually led to John being promoted to a senior project management role, where he now leads meetings and presentations for international teams. Now, let's talk about giving presentations. This is another area where English skills can make a huge difference in your career. In many global companies, employees are often required to give presentations to clients, share reports with stakeholders, or even present new ideas to senior management. If your English is strong, you can deliver presentations with clarity, confidence, and professionalism. You can explain complex ideas in a way that your audience will understand, and you'll be able to respond to questions with ease. But if your English is weak, giving a presentation in a foreign language can feel like an overwhelming challenge. You might struggle to find the right words, lose your train of thought, or feel embarrassed in front of an audience. I've seen this happen with a few colleagues in the past, and I know how frustrating it can be. However, I've also seen many people overcome these challenges and improve their presentation skills through practice and by gaining more confidence in their English. I remember a story about a woman named Emily who worked in finance. She had to regularly give presentations to clients and investors, but her lack of confidence in English made her nervous. She realized that this was limiting her potential. So, she worked hard to improve her English and practiced giving presentations in front of friends and colleagues. Emily learned how to structure her presentations more effectively in English, how to use clear and simple language, and how to manage her nerves when speaking. The next time she had to present to a group of international investors, she delivered a smooth, confident presentation in English. Not only did she impress her audience, but Emily also secured a major deal for her company. Her success in presenting confidently in English led to more career opportunities, including a promotion to a leadership position. As you can see, learning English can directly impact your ability to perform key tasks in your career, such as writing professional emails, attending meetings, and giving presentations. These are everyday skills that most people in global organizations need. But beyond these tasks, English can also lead to promotions and better job offers. Let me explain why. In today's job market, companies are looking for employees who can communicate effectively across cultures. Many organizations, especially those with a global presence, prefer candidates who are fluent in English because it allows them to communicate with teams, clients, and partners around the world. If you are able to communicate in English, you're seen as someone who can contribute to global projects, handle cross-cultural collaborations, and manage international teams. These skills make you more attractive to employers, and often, employees who are proficient in English are given greater responsibility and leadership roles. Take the example of a marketing professional named David. He was working in a local company and was doing well, but he noticed that many of his colleagues who spoke English fluently were given higher positions. David decided to invest in his English skills and worked hard to improve his speaking and writing. As a result, he was promoted to a regional manager role where he oversaw marketing efforts in several countries. His English skills not only helped him collaborate with international teams, but also allowed him to access new opportunities within his company, ultimately leading to his promotion. Furthermore, English proficiency can also increase your chances of receiving better job offers. Global companies are always on the lookout for candidates who can interact with their international clients and colleagues. If you have strong English skills, you're likely to be considered for higher-level positions and competitive job offers that require international communication. This can lead to higher salaries, better job security, and more professional growth. Finally, one of the most important benefits of learning English in a professional setting is the ability to work in international teams. In a globalized workplace, teamwork is key to achieving success. Whether you're collaborating with people from different countries or working on joint projects, English enables you to communicate clearly and effectively with team members across the world. Teamwork and communication are essential for any organization to thrive, and knowing English is often the key to being an active participant in those teams. Whether you're brainstorming new ideas, discussing strategies, or solving problems together, your ability to communicate in English ensures that everyone is on the same page. It allows you to contribute more effectively, share your thoughts confidently, and build strong relationships with colleagues from all over the world. These are all incredible benefits that learning English can bring to your career. It's not just about being able to communicate in a meeting or write a professional email. It's about how these skills open up new opportunities and help you grow in your career. It's clear that the more proficient you become in English, the more doors you'll be able to open.
Exactly. And these skills, whether it's writing emails, attending meetings, giving presentations, or collaborating with international teams, are not just important for today, but they will continue to shape the future of work. English isn't just a tool, it's a key to unlocking career potential. So if you're looking to advance in your current job or explore new opportunities, investing in your English skills will definitely give you the competitive edge you need.
Now that we've talked about the amazing career benefits of learning English, it's important to acknowledge that learning a new language, especially one as widely used as English, can come with its challenges. We've all been there at some point in our language learning journey. The good news is that, while challenges are a natural part of the process, there are plenty of solutions and strategies that can help you overcome them. Whether you're a beginner or someone who has been studying English for a while, these challenges might feel familiar. But don't worry. Today, we'll explore some of the most common obstacles that people face when learning English and offer practical solutions that can help you get past them. One of the first challenges that many people encounter is the fear of making mistakes. It's completely normal to feel anxious or worried about speaking English incorrectly, especially when you're in a professional setting. For many learners, this fear can be paralyzing. You might worry that if you make a mistake, people will judge you or not take you seriously. I know I've felt this way myself, and I'm sure many of our listeners have too. The truth is, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. So, it's important to understand that mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. They're not something to fear, but something to embrace as a sign that you're growing and improving.
That's such a great point, Adam. One of the most effective ways to overcome this fear is to practice speaking English as much as possible. The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. And remember, you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect vocabulary to speak. Start small. Speak to friends or colleagues who are also learning English, or even speak to yourself. You can also use language exchange apps where you chat with other learners or native speakers. This way, you get comfortable with making mistakes in a low-pressure environment, which can help you build your confidence. Eventually, you'll stop worrying about making mistakes, and you'll start focusing on the message you want to convey instead. Another common challenge is vocabulary retention, remembering new words and using them correctly in conversations. When you first start learning English, it can feel overwhelming to remember all the new words and phrases. You may study a list of vocabulary, but then forget some of the words the next day. The problem is, simply memorizing words in isolation might not be enough to keep them in your long-term memory. To really master new vocabulary, you need to actively use it. So, how can you do that? One strategy that works for a lot of people is to use the words in context. Instead of memorizing words from a list, try using them in sentences or stories. This helps you understand how the word fits into different situations, and it makes it easier to remember. For example, if you're learning business-related vocabulary, try using those words in sentences about your own job. Another great strategy is to review regularly. Don't just learn a new word and forget about it the next day. Make it part of your daily routine. You can set reminders to practice your vocabulary for just 10 to 15 minutes a day, which will help you stay consistent. You could also use language learning apps like Duolingo, Babel, or Memrise, which can help you reinforce vocabulary through games and quizzes. These apps make it easier to practice every day and are designed to keep you engaged while learning. I personally love using these apps because they turn vocabulary practice into something fun, and you get instant feedback, which helps you improve quickly.
Absolutely. Apps are a fantastic way to learn new words and phrases. But another challenge that many learners face is listening comprehension. In many cases, it's easy to get stuck on vocabulary and grammar, but understanding spoken English, especially in a fast-paced conversation or when someone has an accent, can be really tough. This challenge is something I hear a lot from people who are trying to improve their English for work. They may know the vocabulary and understand grammar rules, but when they listen to a presentation or a meeting, they struggle to keep up. So, how can we tackle this? One solution is to listen to English regularly in different contexts. It might seem obvious, but the more you listen to English, the more you'll start to understand how it flows. You can watch movies, TV shows, and YouTube videos in English, or listen to podcasts and audiobooks. And here's a tip. Try to watch with subtitles at first. This way, you'll be able to connect the spoken word with the written form, which can help you recognize words faster. Over time, you can turn off the subtitles and challenge yourself to understand the content without relying on them. Another great idea is to listen to content that interests you, like a podcast about your favorite hobby or a TED Talk on a subject you're passionate about. This keeps things interesting and motivates you to keep listening. And if you don't catch everything, don't get discouraged. You can always rewind or even slow down the speed so you can understand the words more clearly. There's no need to rush. Listening is a skill that gets better the more you practice.
Right. And speaking of accents, that brings us to another challenge, understanding different accents. English is spoken by people all over the world, and accents can vary a lot depending on the country or region. For some learners, this can be frustrating. You might feel like you're not understanding because of the accent, but remember, it's completely normal. One way to get better at understanding different accents is to expose yourself to a variety of English speakers. For example, if you're always listening to American English, try listening to British, Australian, or Canadian English. The more diverse the accents, the easier it becomes to adapt to them.
Exactly. The key here is exposure. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone and listen to English from different parts of the world. You can also find resources like accent-specific videos or podcasts that can help you tune your ear to particular pronunciations. It may feel difficult at first, but with consistent practice, you'll start to notice improvements. Another challenge that many people face is finding time to practice English. Life can get busy, and it's easy to put off studying or practicing because of work, family, or other commitments. But here's the thing. You don't need hours of free time to practice. It's all about making small, consistent efforts. Even if you only have 10 to 15 minutes a day, you can still make progress. Try listening to an English podcast during your commute, or spend a few minutes reading an article or watching a video during your lunch break. Little by little, these small efforts will add up over time. The key is to stay consistent.
That's so true. One final challenge that I'd like to highlight is finding a supportive learning community. Learning a language can sometimes feel like a lonely journey, especially if you don't have many people around you who are learning English too. But the good news is, there are many ways to connect with other learners. One great way to find support is by joining an English class, either in person or online. Many language schools offer group lessons where you can interact with other students and practice speaking in a supportive environment. You can also join language exchange groups where you can practice speaking with native English speakers or other learners. This is a great way to get real-world practice and learn from others who might be going through the same challenges. There are also many online communities and forums where learners share tips and experiences. These groups can help keep you motivated and provide answers to your questions when you feel stuck.
Absolutely. Building a strong support network is key to staying motivated and making progress. The more you connect with other learners, the more confidence you'll build, and the more you'll be encouraged to keep going. So, to sum up, learning English has its challenges, but there are so many ways to overcome them. Whether it's the fear of making mistakes, struggling with vocabulary, or difficulty with listening comprehension, the important thing is to keep practicing and stay consistent. There are so many tools available, apps, online classes, podcasts, and supportive communities that can help you reach your English learning goals. As we've explored the importance of English in career growth and tackled some of the challenges that come with learning it, it's time to focus on practical tips that can really help you improve your English, especially if you're just starting out or if you're looking to make significant progress for your career. The good news is, you don't need to become fluent overnight. In fact, it's the small, consistent steps you take that will lead to big results in the long run. Whether you're aiming to use English in meetings, write professional emails, or ace an interview, there are many things you can do to get there. Let's dive into some actionable tips that will help you improve your English for career growth. One of the first things I recommend for beginners is to read job-related articles in English. There are so many articles, blogs, and reports available online that are specifically tailored to different industries. If you're working in marketing, for example, you can read articles about new marketing strategies or case studies in English. If you're in finance, you can read the latest market trends or business reports. The benefit of this is that it not only improves your vocabulary, but also helps you get used to the types of words and expressions that are commonly used in your field. Over time, reading these articles will build your understanding of both industry-specific language and formal English, which is incredibly important for professional communication. As you read, try to highlight or make a note of any words or phrases that you don't understand. Look up their meaning and then try to use them in your own sentences. This will reinforce your memory of the new vocabulary and help you get comfortable with using it in the right context. Another great technique is to read out loud. This might feel a bit awkward at first, but it will improve your pronunciation and fluency. As you read aloud, you'll also get better at forming sentences quickly, which is an essential skill when communicating in English at work.
I absolutely agree with you, Adam. Reading job-related articles is a great tip. And I'd also like to add another important practice that can really help you prepare for professional situations. Practicing interview questions. If you're planning to use English to get a job or advance in your career, one of the best ways to improve is by simulating interview scenarios. This gives you a chance to practice speaking in a more formal, structured way and to refine your answers. You can find sample interview questions online, or if you're not sure where to start, think about the kinds of questions you might face based on the job you're aiming for. For example, questions like, "Tell me about yourself," "What are your strengths and weaknesses?" or "Why do you want to work here?" are common in most interviews. To make the most of this exercise, it's essential to speak out loud when practicing your answers, rather than just thinking about them in your head. You can even ask a friend or a colleague who speaks English to role-play with you, pretending to be the interviewer. If you don't have someone to practice with, you can do it alone in front of a mirror or record yourself. When you listen to your recordings, you'll be able to hear your mistakes and make adjustments, whether it's improving your pronunciation or rephrasing certain answers for clarity. Additionally, if you're someone who gets nervous during interviews, practicing in English beforehand will also help you feel more confident. The more you practice answering questions in English, the less nervous you'll feel when you actually sit down for an interview in real life. You'll know exactly what to say, and that preparation will shine through when you communicate.
Those are great tips, Julia. Now let's talk about a tip that might be surprisingly simple, but it's incredibly effective. Watching videos in English. I can't emphasize this enough. Watching videos, whether they're TED Talks, business presentations, or industry-related webinars, is a fantastic way to improve your listening skills and your general understanding of English in a professional context. There's no need to watch something boring either. Find videos that are related to your career field or areas of interest. This will expose you to specific terminology, give you ideas about how to express your thoughts, and also help you get used to hearing different accents and speaking speeds. The best part about videos is that you can pause and rewind as needed, so you can take your time. If you hear a word you don't understand, pause the video, look up the word, and then continue. The more you do this, the more you'll become comfortable with different vocabulary, and the faster you'll be able to process English during conversations. This also ties in with building your listening comprehension, which we discussed earlier. Listening to professionals speak in your field of interest will help you understand the language in a more authentic context. Another technique I recommend is to take notes while you watch. Write down any new phrases, expressions, or vocabulary that you hear, and later, try to use them in your own work-related conversations. This process will help reinforce the new words and phrases, making them stick in your memory.
That's a fantastic tip, Adam. Watching videos is such a great way to learn. Now, speaking of learning, one of the most important things when it comes to improving your English is maintaining consistency. It's easy to get motivated and study for a few days, but the real progress comes when you make learning a regular habit. I know it can be challenging to find time in your busy schedule, but even just 15 minutes of focused study every day will make a difference. So, how can you maintain consistency? One thing that helps is setting small, achievable goals. For example, you could aim to learn 5 new vocabulary words a day or listen to a 10-minute podcast during your commute. These small goals are easy to stick to, and they keep you on track without feeling overwhelmed. Another idea is to set a specific time each day for your English practice. If you do this, you'll create a routine, and learning English will become a natural part of your day, just like any other task you have to complete. Whether it's in the morning, during lunch, or before bed, choose a time that works best for you, and make it a non-negotiable part of your schedule. You'll be amazed at how much progress you can make when you commit to daily practice, even if it's just for a short period of time.
I love that advice, Julia. Consistency really is the key to success, and routine plays a huge role in language learning. Another great way to stay motivated and consistent is by tracking your progress. If you set specific goals, keep track of how much you've achieved. Maybe you've read 5 articles in English this week, or you've mastered a set of interview questions. Whatever it is, celebrate your small wins. Recognizing your progress not only boosts your confidence, but also motivates you to keep going. You can use apps or simple notebooks to track your learning milestones. It's incredibly rewarding to look back and see how far you've come.
Absolutely. Tracking your progress is such a powerful motivator. And finally, one more tip I want to share is surrounding yourself with English. This means immersing yourself in the language as much as possible. Change your phone or computer settings to English, follow social media accounts that post in English, and try to engage with content in English whenever you can. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more it will become second nature. You'll start to think in English, which is when you know you've truly mastered the language.
These tips will certainly help you build a solid foundation for improving your English and advancing in your career. Remember, it's all about making those small, daily efforts and keeping yourself motivated. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and don't forget to celebrate your progress along the way. With time, your English skills will improve, and so will the doors that open for your career.
Just to say that every effort you make counts. Even on days when it feels hard or slow, trust that you're making progress and that progress will pay off in your career. Keep going and never give up.
Now, we're excited to have a special guest join us for this segment. We're welcoming Maria, who will share her personal journey of how learning English helped her career and opened doors she never imagined. Maria has worked in several international organizations, and her story is a perfect example of how English can create opportunities and elevate your professional life. Maria, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam and Julia. I'm really excited to be here and share my story. English has truly been a game changer in my career, and I'm happy to talk about it.
We're thrilled to have you, Maria. Let's start by hearing about your journey. Can you tell us about how you first started learning English and why it became so important for your career?
Of course, well, I've always been interested in languages, but I didn't truly realize how essential English was until I started working in the corporate world. I remember when I first applied for a job at a multinational company, they made it clear that English proficiency was a must. At the time, I was decent at reading and writing in English, but my speaking skills were not strong enough to express myself confidently in a professional setting. I knew I had to improve if I wanted to progress in my career. So I made the decision to dedicate time each day to learning. I took online courses, joined a local English speaking club, and even watched business webinars in English. Slowly, I noticed the difference it was making, not just in terms of my communication skills, but in how I was perceived at work. I was able to participate in meetings, contribute ideas during international calls, and write clearer emails. English gave me the ability to connect with colleagues from different countries and take on more challenging projects. That's when I realized the power of English in the professional world.
That's such an inspiring story, Maria. It's amazing to see how your dedication paid off. One thing I'm curious about is, were there any challenges you faced when you were learning English? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Great question. One of the biggest challenges I faced was overcoming my fear of speaking. I was always worried about making mistakes, especially in front of colleagues or clients. But I soon realized that everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers, and it's a normal part of learning. To overcome this, I started practicing more frequently in low-pressure situations. I'd record myself speaking and listen to it later to identify areas for improvement. I also tried to speak with colleagues who were more fluent in English, and I found that most of them were very supportive and encouraged me to speak more often. Slowly but surely, my confidence grew, and that made a huge difference in my career.
That's such an important point, Maria. The fear of making mistakes often holds people back from speaking. But as you said, it's all about practice and not being afraid to make those mistakes. Now, you've mentioned that learning English helped you with writing emails and participating in meetings. Could you give us a specific example of how knowing English opened a door for you professionally? Maybe a situation where English directly led to an opportunity or promotion.
Absolutely. One experience stands out. A few years ago, there was a big project at work that required close collaboration with teams from the UK and the US. The project manager needed someone to lead the communications between the teams, and since I had been improving my English, I felt confident enough to take on the role. I was responsible for coordinating meetings, drafting emails, and ensuring that all team members were on the same page. It was a high-profile project, and my ability to communicate effectively in English was crucial to its success. After the project was completed, my boss recognized my contributions and offered me a promotion to a higher position. He specifically mentioned that my English skills had played a big part in me being chosen to lead the project. That was a turning point in my career. It made me realize how essential language skills are in the professional world and how they can directly influence career growth.
Wow, that's incredible, Maria. It's clear that English really played a key role in advancing your career. Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask you one final question. For our listeners who are just starting out or trying to improve their English, what advice would you give them? What's the most important thing they should focus on?
Great question, Adam. My advice would be don't wait for the perfect moment to start improving your English. It's easy to think you need to be at a certain level before you can use English at work, but the truth is, the sooner you start practicing, the better. Focus on the practical use of the language, whether it's writing short emails, having casual conversations with colleagues, or reading articles in your field. Also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all part of the process. And finally, be consistent. Even if you can only dedicate 15 minutes a day to practicing, that little bit adds up over time.
Such valuable advice, Maria. Thank you for sharing your journey and insights with us today. It's inspiring to hear how English has not only helped you grow in your career, but also given you the confidence to take on new challenges. We really appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you so much, Maria. Your story is a perfect example of how learning English can truly open doors and change the course of your career. We're sure our listeners have learned a lot from your experience.
Thank you both again for having me. It's been a pleasure to share my story, and I hope it inspires others to keep pushing forward with their English learning journey.
Thank you, Maria. That wraps up our guest segment. We hope you all enjoyed hearing Maria's story and gained some valuable insights into how English can help you advance your career.
As we come to the end of today's podcast, let's take a moment to recap some of the key points we've discussed. English, as we've seen today, is not just a language. It's a powerful tool that can open doors in many aspects of life, especially when it comes to your career. Whether you're writing emails, attending meetings, or giving presentations, English is the key to unlocking opportunities that might otherwise be out of reach. We've also heard amazing stories like Maria's, where learning English has directly led to career advancement, promotions, and new international projects.
Exactly, Adam. Throughout our discussion, we've talked about how English is the global language of business, technology, and travel, and how it connects people from different countries. We also discussed how it can boost your confidence, help you participate in teams, and give you a voice in the international workplace. No matter where you are in your English learning journey, the key takeaway here is English opens doors. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been learning for years, your language skills can always be improved and the opportunities will keep growing.
Absolutely, Julia. And remember, learning English is not just about memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about communication. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Even small steps like reading articles, practicing speaking with others, or watching videos in English can make a huge difference. And as we heard today, the rewards, career growth, new opportunities, and a brighter future are well worth the effort. So, don't give up, keep going, and trust that your hard work will pay off.
And with that, we want to thank all of you for joining us today on How English Opened Doors for My Career. It's been an inspiring conversation, and we hope you feel motivated to continue improving your English skills. Whether you're using English to advance your career, travel the world, or connect with people from all walks of life, remember that every step you take brings you closer to your goals.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. We truly appreciate your time, and we'd love to hear your own stories about how learning English has helped you. If you have a story you'd like to share, please send it to us. We might even feature it in an upcoming episode. We believe that when we share our experiences, we all grow together, so don't hesitate to reach out.
And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. In our next podcast, we'll be talking about the role of English in global communication and how it plays a crucial part in connecting people, cultures, and businesses around the world. We're looking forward to exploring this exciting topic with you, and we hope you'll tune in.
Once again, thank you for being part of today's conversation. Keep learning, stay motivated, and remember that every word you learn brings you one step closer to your dreams. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone. Happy learning.